All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I haven't seen anyone else join in, so we'll go ahead and start the festivities today. Thank you for joining me for sure during this crazy week. We're all busy in the profession, of course, which business is good, and that's a good thing. But we want to show you some tools today to help increase your workflows. Speed things up a little bit on the production side. And today I'm going to talk to you about renumbering in Revit. And we have a tool that makes it easy and it's free. It's we have a CTC tool that lets us renumber. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Brian Weeks. I've been in the business for 22 years. I've been at ATG just a little over 2. And the reason I'm here at ATG is not only to show you the software that I'm going to show you today, but also that I get to still develop my profession through architecture with ATG, and that's called team augmentation. And the program that we have allows us to work with you and your firm with the projects you have. And because of the experience that we carry with our AEC team, we can help you with a variety of items that may be on your list that your firm can't get to. Maybe you just don't have enough personnel, or of course projects are piling up and you can't get to that work. And that's where myself and other members of my team come in with BIM models. We can help you with construction documents, families, maybe rendering, a wide variety of things that we offer. We offer point cloud scanning as well. So we're not just a software company. We're actually here to help you with your projects and your production. And if you have more questions about that, maybe you do need some help, definitely contact us, atgusa.com. Let us know what your need is. I also like to mention that today I'm doing this presentation on a BIMBox, and BIMBox is offered exclusively through ATG. And this is the fastest computer I've ever worked on. I wish I had it when I was actually, in a firm, but I love getting to use it now because I get to assist my clients with this product by being able to work in Revit, render Inkscape simultaneously while zooming with my clients, so we can walk through their projects and discussing changes in materials all live. And that's just because of the processor speed. I'm able to do all that. So if you are looking for a new system for your firm, a new workstation, maybe a new rendering station, definitely contact us about that as well. Give us your information and we can set up a demonstration for that with your firm. Now, I do want to go ahead and mention, if you do have any questions, anything in the chat, feel free to chat, type that in. And at the end of the presentation, I will answer those questions for you. But I hit the wrong button there. Let me keep going. So today, renumbering tool, it's a CTC Project Suite tool. It is a free tool. CTC Project Suite and all the CTC suites that we offer have a 14-day trial with them. And during that trial, you can download the software, try out all the various tools in the suite. And then after the 14 days are up, if you choose to keep to get a subscription, keep the software going, then you can do that. But if you decide, hey, we don't need a subscription on this other stuff, you can still use the free tools. And when I pull up my screen, you'll see there's quite a variety of the free tools with the suites. We have a project suite, which is a lot for production. We have a BIM manager suite, which really gets into, it's self-explanatory, the BIM manager side, dealing with parameters, project cleanup, dimensions, swapping types, a lot of variety there. And then BIM batch suite is our tools that automate and set up batch processes to speed up your production as well. So today we're going to look at like I said, the renumbering tool, and we're going to show you the various types of items that you can renumber: rooms, doors, grids, details, as well as it renumbers marks as well. And the project suite actually operates within Revit. So you don't have to open up a separate tool to use, or a separate, tool to use Revit simultaneously. It all works within Revit, and it's very easy to use. I'm going to go ahead and hop to the next slide, show you the interface, and then when I go live with the demonstration, you'll see the various uses of the tool: rooms, doors, grids, detail numbers, and the general are general marks, annotation marks. Again, free trial. You can download that from atgusa.com under products, and you can actually download a trial of the various suites that we offer. Like I said, the Project Suite, Manager Suite, Batch Suite. We also have Hive, which is a content management system that's in the cloud. Very cool piece of software that allows us to organize all of our content on a project by project basis. And then, of course, the CIM Project Suite and Manager Suite also have downloads. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at this tool. And again, we've had a couple other people join, so if you have any questions, feel free to chime in, type in your question, and I will get to it at the very end. I'm going to go to our demo here. This is a demo project that we have at the CTC headquarters in Minneapolis, and I'm going to go ahead and hide some grids here just for our demo. I do want to mention that ATG, we are in the US. We have 3 offices: Minneapolis, Little Rock, and Phoenix. And I myself am in Oklahoma. So we actually have AEC technical professionals that work for ATG within the US. We're all contained from east to west coast. So no matter what the time zone, we can come help you out. Now, under our project suite, you can see where I've got the various projects listed, or the various tools listed. And on all the suites, you can see 2 different colored buttons, a light color and a dark color. The light colored buttons are the tools that are the free tools. So after the 14-day trial, you can continue to use these free tools. And then the darker buttons are the premium tools that, of course, come with a subscription. All of the tool sets have suite setting buttons that allow you to control your licensing, but also your visibility. So if there's maybe some tools that you don't use in your workflows on a day-to-day basis, you can uncheck those and have them not appear in your toolbar to free up some space. You can also set it up to group under a single ribbon to where you can have the pull downs, and I like to use the small since I do so many demos. That way you can kind of see all the various tools that we offer. And then licensing is located here. And all of the tools also have the help and support, which is pulls up a direct support. Help is going to be your PDF help, and then about is, of course, the software. But one thing I like to show is that on all of the tools, all 3 suites, when you pull it up, there's actually an additional, a 4th button that is videos. And this is one thing I love about the CTC tools, because some of these tools I use every day with my projects. There's other tools that I don't use quite as often. And so I might forget how to use that tool, the functionality. And so I can actually come in here, click on that video button, and it will take me directly to YouTube to that tool, so I can watch a video on it. Now, some tools only have 1 video. Other ones, such as Schedule Excel, which creates Excel spreadsheets with formulas within Revit. It's an amazing tool as well. It's going to have more videos depending on the complexity of the tool. So you can see how that just took me directly to YouTube. an incredible feature. Very cool to have that at my fingertips to reference. Well, let's go ahead. I'm going to jump right in. Renumbering is always, you know, there's a variety of workflows that every firm, that every drafter, every project architect has. So there's going to be a variety of ways to do renumbering. What this tool is really about is increasing your workflow and decreasing the time it takes to do some of these renumbering items. So we're going to start with rooms. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see my room numbers. And with all of the renumbering tools, we have the ability to add prefixes to our numbers, separators, dash dots, whatever you want your separator to be, and suffixes. Now, the key point to all of these tools is how this really operates, how it really kind of shines for the renumbering, is that we can auto swap. So if there's an identical number in a different part of the project, it will automatically swap that number that the tag currently has with the previous number. So that's helpful in you know, to be able to swap those out so you don't end up with a door schedule or room schedule with duplicate numbers all over the place. And then you have to try to figure out, well, which one's the right number. This one swaps it. And it's just as easy as, let's say I wanted to renumber these to start with a 200. I select renumber. And if I click on the room, it very easily changes those to that number just by clicking. Perhaps I need to add a suffix. Maybe these are part of an area of the building that we need to set up as a different section of the hospital, perhaps, that, you know, we want to break these up into regions and have them numbered accordingly, or maybe it's a suite of rooms. Either way, very easy to make that happen with the suffix or even a prefix to split those up into numbers. Again, I'm spending more time talking about it really than it takes to do that, which is very nice to very quickly renumber those. And then that renumbering, of course, does change that property of the room. So then that will show up in your room schedule correctly. Now, the next thing is doors. I'm going to swap over to my presentation plan because that's where my door grids are. And I saw a question come up. I'll answer questions at the end, but feel free to type them in and then I will label or answer those at the end. So let's go ahead and look at doors. And the nice thing about the doors is that you can label them two different ways. You can renumber them two different ways. You could do a sequence-based numbering or a room-based numbering. On a previous project, I worked with Corps of Engineer, and the Lieutenant Colonel I was working with actually wanted all the doors to be sequential instead of room-based, which architects, we like the room-based numbering, but he wanted those, 1 to 100, so they could actually get an accurate door count, which, makes sense on that type of project. So you can actually do the sequence-based numbering to where they don't even relate to the room. And if you do that, that's what you would do here, is checkbox that. But of course, I like the room-based numbering, and I'm going to auto swap. And it's as easy as clicking on the door, and it renumbers it according to the room, whether it's a to-room or from room. Now, this always happens as well. We send this in for code review. Code review comes back and says, oh, you need to add another door here for egress. Maybe this was going to be a larger assembly room and we'd have to add an additional door. And the process to go through this typically would be kind of a painful process, because you have to go add the doors, figure out what your number sequencing would be, renumber this, the suffixes, so on and so forth. But with this tool, I can do it as capital letters, lower letters, maybe decimals, if that's what your firm uses. But it's as easy as clicking on the tool. Oh, and that's flipped the wrong way. Let's try this going this way and renumber. Now watch it. Oh, cancel, renumber. Try that again. To room. Yeah, that's phasing. There we go. So again, I can do the letters. I can change it to numbers. Very easy to make those swaps happen. Whatever your naming convention needs to be. Now, the next part of this tool is grids. This is another one of my favorite parts of this tool. So the pain point with grid renumbering is that as architects, we do the design. We lay out our grids typically as a SD phase. We send this to our structural engineer to start working with them. And inevitably these grids get switched around, renumbered as the structure develops their layout. And of course, then the architect, we have to go back in and change the grids. So the pain point with that is that that Revit does not allow duplicate grids. So we have to come up with a workflow. Now, my particular workflow before this tool was to do something like this. We'd have to come in, I'd have to go through and re-letter all of these, change this to whatever the last letter was going to be, and then go back through and change that to A. I'm going to undo all of these just to show you how cool this tool is, because I don't have to do any of that anymore. All I have to do is click on it, and I can start that sequence with A. And if you watch over here, it automatically swaps those grids as I click on that. So very quickly and easily, I can renumber my grids. Now, right now, I only have like 10 grid, vertical grid lines. But, if you have a larger project, hundreds of grids going horizontal and vertical, it can definitely take you some time to make that renumbering happen. It also does numbers. Can swap those out. Now, the numbering and using subgrids definitely take a little more thought process, because you're going to have to kind of determine what the sequence is going to be, however structure laid that out. And as long as you don't have duplicates, it might just be as easy to do that. But where the real time saver is definitely on the alphabetical grid lettering. Going to jump over back to our tool, and so that's grids. Again, these are all very similar in layout and operation: rooms, doors, grids. I'm going to jump over to the next thing, which is detail numbers. Now, with detail numbers, we, of course, as part of our typical workflow when we're developing our model and our drawings and getting this all set up, SD, DD phase, we develop our model, we create our design, and during that process, we're going to start making elevations, cutting sections, creating wall section details, building sections, and even your enlarged details. And as these all get created and we put these on sheets, it's just kind of happening typically in a fashion that we're just making sure that those details and sections are showing up on the sheets, and then we come back later and clean those up, organize them, make the page layouts look nice, start adding our comments, our dimensions and annotations. But what always happens is that these are kind of willy-nilly all over the place with the numerical listings. And with renumbering, I can come in here and specify what I want to start the sequence with. Come back, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see these. All I have to do is click on it and get that sequence. Now, of course, I'm going bottom right to top, right to left. Some firms prefer left to right, top to bottom. You know, every firm has its own standard. This tool is totally flexible for that standard. I do also like to show this, and I wish I had this tool when I was doing the work for the Corps. Again, back to that same colonel I was doing work for. He wanted his details to be numbered and lettered by row and column, much like a grid pattern. So I could actually, with this tool, if I had it 5 or 6 years ago when I did work for this, very easily can come in here and renumber and reletter these details. So again, very easy to use. Renumbering, relettering, sequencing, arranging, even if even if this has to shift and change and move around during the construction document phases, it's very easy to make those changes happen. Lastly, general. And what general does is add mark parameters for a family instance. And let me see if I have one of these loaded. I don't know if I do. I don't use this particular part a lot because it really has to do, yeah, I don't. It has to do with the family instance of marks. In my demo software, we don't do a whole lot of demo on the marks. So I'll have to load one for next time, but it works the same way. So if you have a mark parameter in a family instance that needs to be renumbered, then that will auto swap and renumber, reletter those marks, like window marks, furniture mark. If it's a mark parameter based in the mark identity data, then you can renumber that. Again, a very easy software to use. And there was a question, does this only work with rooms, doors, grids, and details, from Danya? That is correct. Well, and as we just discussed, general marks, that's what those work with. Can you renumber components with a custom shared parameter? It would depend on what the component is in that parameter. If it had to deal with a door parameter, the door number, you know, any of the ways that this renumbering is done through rooms, doors, grids. I mean, if you had a custom tag that was listed through the, you know, these particular parameters, the room, door, grid, detail number, and general mark parameter, then it would renumber it. Specialty equipment, plumbing, and generic model. So it could, if that tag that you're using is a mark parameter. So that would be the key, is if your tags you're using were a mark parameter. Now, I did get through that fairly quickly. That is a fairly easy software to use. So what I really wanted to do too, because I kind of did a test run through this and saw how quickly this demo actually goes, I'm actually going to show you a tool called Invisibility Advisor. And what Invisibility Advisor does is it allows you to find items in your project that are not showing up. It resolves visibility issues of any elements in any view. So if it's in your model, if it's in your view, you can unhide that item, and this will give you a solution to finding that item. Sorry, I was reading Danya's comment. Sure, it is a wish list item. What you could do, the cool thing with CTC is that they're constantly releasing updates and developing new software. And every time a new version of Revit comes out, I did have this question in a demo the other day. Every time a new version of Revit comes out, they usually have their software updated in less than 30 days, you know, to update to the latest version. But back to your wish list item, if there is an item that you really think, hey, I'd really love to see this on any of the tools, you can hit support. and it's going to take you to the CTC software website. And there's a little support form, and you can just say, hey, you know, here's why I'm emailing you, you know, request type, wish list. And you can go, man, it'd be really cool if Renumbering did parameters, you know, additional things. And I'm sure that's something they could program in for sure. So let me go ahead and show you Invisibility Advisor. And if we come into our tool here, or our plan here, you can, of course, you know, do the unhide, see that, you know, we have some things unhidden. You know, RH is also the keyboard shortcut for that, to reveal hidden. And that's, you know, that's the way we typically do it when, you know, as part of our workflow, when we're trying to find things that we know are in a view and it's not showing up, we do the RH, we unhide it. If things still aren't showing up, then we go in and start looking at filters and everything of that nature. But what always happens is that something shows up in one view. And for example, I know this is here, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to talk about here in a second. I know that we have desks in this room because we've put them there. So we've got desks in this room, but they're not showing up and they're not hidden. So what could be the problem with this? Well, as part of the workflow, what happens a lot is that the architect, you know, will sit down, we'll go through the construction documents, we'll do our red lines, and perhaps we circled this and said, hey, why isn't it in this view? We do reveal hidden, things aren't showing up, but I know they're there because we modeled them and they're there. So we need to have them show up in our views. And with Invisibility Advisor, again, the setup is similar on all the CTC tools: help, video, support, and about. But with this tool, what I want to do is select the element that I'm trying to find, and it's going to list it. I can also select it by ID or by crossing in the model that element, but usually it's easier if I pull up a view that I can see, select it and say, hey, I want this to show up. And then I tell it where I want it to show up. So I need to show it in my presentation plan. I'm going to hit find element. And what this tool does is it goes through the variety of ways that items can be hidden in Revit, and then come back with a list of possible solutions. The green, of course, is a green as go, and that's usually your best, your best solution. Hey, this is the possible reason. Blue is, it could be this. You have to investigate. You notice that the fix button's not highlighted on these last two, because these are two that are going to take a little bit more investigation. So if it's being obscured by model elements, that's something that you'll just need to investigate and see if there's what happens a lot with links is if when you have project links brought in from your consultants, and sometimes those can overlap items that are in your project. So that's going to be an investigate. And then the last one, this comes up on about every time I do an invisibility search. This is like the worst case scenario, that somebody went in and they physically overrode all the lines in the view and turned them invisible, or change that line type. That's worst case scenario, because this tool can't fix that. But what it can fix is, back to my view. I've talked longer than it'll actually take to do this. I can read more about it. I can show show the item that I'm looking for. But really what I want to do is I just want to fix it. So what it's going to do first is categories turned off. You can see that it turned on this category for this particular piece of furniture, but it still didn't unhide all of the desks that we're looking for. So let's go ahead and do view range. So that's what it was. The view range setting was hiding all of our furniture actually throughout most of the project. Now, I do want to clarify that when it changes these settings, especially when you're dealing with view range, a lot of times that's dealing with your filters, your view templates and your view filters. It just changes that setting in this one view. It's not going global and changing every view. And that's key, because if we have, in this case, we have the same floor plan set up in two different views, you can see how it's still not showing up in the code plan. That's very key, because that means that it's not going to be changing everything in our whole project. So let's go ahead and do this again without all the talking. And I'm just going to go to my code plan, find the element, because now I want it to turn on in my code plan. And very quickly and easily unhid a whole bunch of stuff there for my furniture that it was looking for. So that is a really helpful tool from the CTC BIM Project Suite. That is one of the premium tools. So if you download the trial, you get to try all these different tools out. That is a very easy tool to use and very helpful. Let me see if everybody's, is this a paid tool? Okay, no. And I don't know the one I'm talking about, if Danya was referring to the Invisibility Advisor is one of the premium tools. But again, if you download the trial, you can try all these out. And right now I'm kind of going through different my workflow tools that I use on a daily basis, or sometimes daily, a lot of times weekly or project by project. I'll use these tools. Let me go ahead. I'm making sure I'm getting all the questions answered. Oh, thank you, Danya, for being here. Let me show you another one of my favorite tools. As a project architect, project manager, starting up the new projects, that's always a pain point, making sure we've got our levels set up, starting all the views. A lot of firms, you're going to have your company templates set up. Let me go to my elevation here. You're going to have your company template set up. So a lot of times you're going to have these floors and various points set up in your project. But a smooth working company template is one that has just the base information in it. You don't have all your levels, and you don't have all the tools and everything, or all the families and everything loaded into it. And you kind of at the beginning come in and set up your levels and views. And that's always a hard thing to do at the very beginning, because you're trying to adjust the floors and make sure everything's right from the get-go. Sometimes you're going to have to make some changes to the floors as structure works on the design and changes levels. So changing the levels, creating the views, modifying and duplicating views, that's always been a really difficult thing to have to work through in Revit, because to do that, you go through here, let's do view, let's do my plan view, let's make a new floor plan. What floor plan is it? Well, is it an existing plan? No, maybe I need to duplicate a plan. So you have to go through this whole process of selecting and duplicating. When it does it, it's just creating a whole new view viewport. So your crop, the crop and the area of annotation settings and all those, you have to set those up in every view every time, because trying to duplicate those, the other way to do it, of course, is to come down here. Let's duplicate a view, duplicate it as a dependent detailing. And if you do that over and over again, and then have to apply view templates to those new views, I mean, you're talking a whole day's worth of work for a project architect or a project manager to get this all set up before anyone on your team can start on it. Okay, so that's the pain point. Let me show you how easy this is now with this tool that I do use this with my clients here at ATG. It's called View Creator. And when I'm starting a project for a client, I can come in and set up their levels. Now, in our case, we already have our levels set up. So I'm going to add a what if situation. Our client comes back to us and says, we have extra money and we want to add a whole new floor we've talked to structure. Structure says we can do it. And so now we've got to come in and change these levels and add a whole new level 5 to our project. Well, it's as easy as coming in, adding level 5. I've modified my elevations on the existing levels that I have and hit create and update levels. Now it is going to come back with an error here because some of my walls weren't joined correctly to my levels. So I'm just going to go ahead and go, yeah, go ahead, hit unjoin. I'm worried more about creating this new floor, this new level. So here's my new level, level 5. So we're ready to start developing plans for the new level 5. Well, we know that we're going to have a lot of different plans available for this new level we created based off of our templates. So using the View Creator tool, you can see my various tabs up here at the top. This tool does a lot of stuff, and I'm going to try to get through it quickly here before we run out of time. Level 5, I'm going to create new plans and ceiling views based off of my new level that I just created. And those are going to be based off of my new construction phase. And in the middle here are my view templates that are in my project. So now I can come through here, check box the new views, the new plans I want to create based off of these templates. I think that's all I want to do there. I'm going to add those to my list. It does say, hey, you've already got a floor plan. And that was a default because when I created the level, it created that default plan. And then I'm going to come up here and I can do, like you can see, you can select various new views that I want to create, but I'm more worried about the reflected ceiling plan, architectural. Maybe we want an existing one as well. So let me add those. So there's all the new views that I'm getting ready to create with a click of the button based off of my templates. And those templates are already going to be assigned to those views. So if I make this small again, come down here, you can see my code up. It looks like I need to renumber or rename these. I didn't set that up correctly when I did it, but you can actually, if I jump back over here, when you do your selection on these items, like let me do one again. It's telling me I've already got this view, but you can set up your view naming specifics down here to get it to match your the way you have it set up in the views already. But what I wanted to show you is just how it actually developed that plan. And here's the cool part. Look how it matches the view, the crop of the annotation view and the crop of that plan. It's all identical, and that one's hidden, but I can turn it on. So pretty cool on that. Now let's jump into, whoop, I didn't mean to pull that window out. Now let's use the View Creator to, I can duplicate elevation views. So this is very helpful if I have maybe a lot of interior elevations, because right now in this demo, I just have exteriors. But if you have interiors and maybe you want to duplicate that same 1/4 inch interior, maybe your restroom plans, you're going to have your fixture elevation and maybe a finish elevation, and they need to look the same, and you can duplicate those here. But really what I like to do is show off is this, because now that I've created all of those plans right through here, this particular demo actually has 2 plan regions because of the size of the building. So we have an area A and an area B, and that's always been a pain point too, of duplicating those plan regions in the views. Well, with this tool, all I've got to do is check box, hey, I want to duplicate these plan regions in these new views I just created, and it's going to create those dependent views based off of my selection. So very quickly, it comes through, creates the 18 views for my project. And I'm going to exit out again, and you can see how those are automatically cropped in there in plan regions. So also a very cool part of this tool. Very quickly developed that. You can also duplicate schedules. So you can create new views off of your schedules. So if we need to create a new door frame schedule for level 5, or even a finish plan, which I don't have a finish plan in here for this particular demo, but duplicate those schedules by phase, by level, and then have those all be duplicated. This is another one of my favorite things about this tool is very quickly I can come in and create new sheets. So gone are the days of right-clicking on the sheet index, going down there on the project browser and having to tell it, hey, create my sheets. Nope, I just created 2 new sheets by typing that in. So if I scroll down here, there's my T's. Rather than having to do this, new sheet, blah, 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 select the sheet, rename the sheet, select the sheet, rename the sheet. Such a pain point to have that way, whereas here I can do this. Now, the other thing I like about this is that I can batch add sheets. So when we perhaps we get civil, as an architect, I get civil engineer sheet index because perhaps they're still working in AutoCAD, but I need to have all their sheets show up in my project index, but they're in AutoCAD. So we're just referencing their sheets. We're not actually including them. By copy pasting their list, I can batch add sheets and tell it exactly what title block it needs to be used. Let's see. Didn't know if I had any other questions yet. You can also duplicate work sets, views. So if I need to create some duplicate views very quickly for these new areas I've worked on. So check, check, check. Maybe I want, 3, 4, and 5 duplicates. I can do it as dependents or detailing, change, do the renaming with prefixes and suffixes on these duplicate views. There's also a lot of control over what exactly type of view I want to create off of these duplicate views. I'm just gonna, you can sort and see specifically in this whole list of all of my views, helps you kind of sort and find exactly what it is you're wanting to duplicate, or find what it contains, and then you can tell it how many duplicates you need. Let's say with detailing, and create duplicate views. And so again, very quickly, it just created 12 new views that are all duplicate views of my code plans, and it numbers them. Since I didn't specify a new number sequence, it's just going to label those, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And lastly, my other favorite part of this view creator tool is the fact that I can very quickly and easily organize my views with my view templates. So on the left, we have all the views that in my project that are not associated with the view template. And on the right are the view templates that are in my project. The current method of doing this is, of course, very painful because we have to actually go to the view, scroll down, find the view templates, assign it to the proper view template. Maybe I don't want a view template. Maybe it needs to be existing. You go through and you select those view templates and assign them to that view. And then if you have to do that with multiples, you have to select those to make that happen, using shift, so on and so forth. But you still have a process you have to go through over here using the Revit project browser. With View Creator, this could not be easier. I come over here to the view templates. I'm going to minimize. You can see I've got some of these demo floor plans over here. These are not assigned to a template at the moment. But if I go over here to the right, you can see my demo plan template. So let's go ahead and select those. And I'm going to drag and drop them over to demo. Maybe my code plan goes over here. I've got some sections that don't have templates. So you can see how it's very easy to, there's my sections. Let's see, wall section, section, drag and drop over here. You hit apply changes and it's going to apply those templates to those specific views that I just drug over there. And then it sends out a report and says, here's all the stuff that you just did with the templates. And now, so code plan 0, or let's see, what did I drag over? I don't remember what I dragged over here now. How about wall sections? We can look at the wall sections. And so those views now actually have that template assigned to it. Very cool tool, very great time-saving tool, especially like I said, project architects, project managers, getting your project set up. This is, I could not live without this now, setting up all my new projects. Well, I'm getting up on time here. I don't have any other questions, or if you do, feel free to type something in. Let me jump back to my presentation here just so we can kind of finish it out. Do want to thank you all for joining me today. atgusa.com. You can connect with us on LinkedIn and YouTube. On YouTube, like you saw, we do have a lot of videos about tutorials, but we also have a lot of videos that deal with webinars like I'm doing today. This will be recorded and posted. We also have webinars and white papers as well on various subjects. Our team augmentation team here at ATG deals with all of the AEC fields: architectural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, civil, and structural. So you're going to get various content from ATG every week. So be sure to check out our website and our LinkedIn for all the latest info. I do want to thank you all today for joining me. If any of these tools are an interest to you, definitely contact us at atgusa.com and we'll connect you with a sales representative in your area. Training, scanning, modeling, drafting, project templates, anything your firm might need help with, that's where ATG comes in. So thank you all again today for joining me. I want to wish everyone a safe week. Happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day, and everyone have a safe week. And thank you again.